Hello, welcome to an unboxing video of your summer homework from the Academy for Character Education, ACE Charter School. We, in the summers, give out an envelope like this to make sure students are learning throughout the summer a little bit to avoid summer learning loss. If you're a new student, you should have received an envelope like this, and or you will receive it soon, and it has your name in the corner and your class. The class is really important. It's going to either be grammar A, B, C, or D. Those are different classes that we offer in our elementary program, and it does not say summer HLAs here. I just wrote that to make sure I remind you that when we call our homework, it sounds maybe optional. Our homework is home-linked assignments because it's part of the fabric of our school and it is required. So we'll open up your envelope and see what we have in there. We have several things. A summer packet that says appendix on it. We have this one with frequently asked questions. We have a red, a blue, and a couple more white. So I'm going to ask you to rearrange and get this packet out to start with. This is your appendix. I'm going to rip through here and start off with just showing you a few of the things to start with. First of all, in the lower grammar levels like A and B, your kids are not doing any multiplication drills. They can play with these if they wanted to, but that is not for them. So I'm going to actually just rip those apart. Yay, gone, trash, recyclable paper. Okay, we have a math puzzler, which I'll show you about later. This is the actual questions, and then here are the answers. You're not supposed to let your child see the answers, but if you follow the directions, there is a contest, and you can take part in that if you'd like. Then we have some readings. These readings last for a few pages, just 4, and those are going to be referred to later. You can keep all this stapled together, but I'm ripping it apart for us to, understand better. Then there's this one that's called a nature journal. I'm going to explain that later. I just want you to see what it is. And then we're getting to this part. If you're new to ACE, which that's who this video is for, all of this is Latin and all of it is not for you. It goes in your recycling pile. So you do not need to worry about that. Now we've eliminated this appendix packet down to very few pages, right? So you can restaple it back together if you'd like to, but that is all that you need to worry about when you're a new grammar student here at ACE. And there are good reasons why we just publish it in mass like this, but for now you get to just have a whole bunch of paper that you want to recycle. Don't get confused though. It is not necessary for you to do. Okay, so now that the appendix has been discussed, I'd like for you to go to this page. This is your 2020 Summer Home Linked Assignments assignment packet, okay? We start with the frequently asked questions. First of all, why do we have home linked assignments? I already mentioned it, but you're welcome to read all of this in more detail. We want to avoid summer learning loss, and we are a year-round school. Secondly, what level of schoolwork should I complete? Well, if you're confused, this is the class up here on your folder. That's the class that you're in. So you can write that class here and transfer it if no one did that already. Someone may have already done that for you. What if I have questions about what to do? Well, here are great people to contact. Your Mrs. Sano, the principal, and your academic dean, who's kind of like your head teacher. How should I turn my work in? You can turn your work in throughout the summer and at the end of the summer. There's a few different options. When are summer HLAs due? And the summer HLAs are actually due either with one option or the second option. The first option is turn them in at the end of July and turn them in at the end of August. The second option is just to turn everything in at the end of August. And I think half of our school does one and half of our school does the other one. But if you do option number 1, you'll get twice as much reward. So that's really fun if you're trying to beef up all those rewards. The back of the page says, what if I don't complete my HLAs? Well, this is part of your enrollment. It finalizes your enrollment, but also will help you finish it in September when the first week of school is happening, we'll be working on helping you finish your assignments. We really recommend you get them done in the summer. And other important information, there's a reading contest, a math puzzler, and a multiplication tables. I've already referred to those a little bit back when we talked about the appendix. The reading contest I'll go through, but the math puzzler, it's actually located twice in your packets. I'll show that to you. And then your multiplication tables are not for the younger students, but those who have not yet accomplished these, the skill of finishing a 100 fact sheet in 5 minutes or less, these should definitely practice this summer. We have found that there's a direct tie between students who have been able to complete this math multiplication sheet in 5 minutes or less and a reduced amount of stress and time it takes to complete your math homework from week to week. And I'd love to see your students flourish and not lag on the time it takes them to complete their assignments. So we really insist, especially as we do school remotely half of the time with the blended learning, we want to make sure that this is a skill our students are able to do. So they'll be tested on this in Grammar C and D every month in front of teachers, and we'll give the opportunities to work on them at home as well. But Grammar A and Grammar B do not touch this. Grammar C and Grammar D do. So you're welcome to work on that. Okay, so let's flip that over and go on to the next part. The next 6 pages are special pages that tell you what to do. And I've already highlighted mine. That way my video is shorter, but I want you to maybe pause the video and highlight yours pretty similar to what I've done. I am going to go through it item by item, but then you're welcome to pause the video and highlight yours just like I highlighted mine. First of all, at the top of each page is a week number. We believe that we have 3 weeks in July of school and then 1 week off, and 3 weeks of August of school and 1 week off. But the schoolwork is very small. There's not a lot there. So I'm just going to flip through and just only show you the top line here. Week 1, week 2, week 3, those are July. Week 4 starts in August. Week 5, August, and week 6, August. So I'm going to flip back to the beginning, but I just want you to see the method to our madness there. Okay, secondly, we have character here. Character traits are a part of the fabric of our school. This summer, our character trait is virtue, so that will be something that the students learn this summer and then memorize in, so that they can tell it to their class or write it down this coming September. And probably for the younger students, they just say it, and the older students may do writing or saying, depending what the teacher wants or the student needs. Math, all students every week are going to complete 2 lessons each week. So we have 2 for each week times 6 weeks, total of 12 math lessons this entire summer. Math A and B students have an element to their math that requires something called meeting strips. And I'll explain what those are in a couple minutes. And then Grammar C and D, they are going to complete the multiplication drills. And I know I said earlier you could throw those out. The younger students can throw these out. The older students need to keep them. But these are going to be what they require in addition to their math lesson. So some kids think that this is a math lesson. This in itself is not a math lesson. This is a drill sheet. And so we have 2 math lessons a week plus 1 of these. Okay, then we have memory work, which says optional on it. There are something that we memorize here called timeline dates, and you can start memorizing those in the summer if you'd like. Writing is something that takes reading and then writing. So we read, there's readings in the appendix. Remember, I went back and I ripped apart things, but I left these readings. So this is the readings. It says Appendix 3, Week 1, Appendix 3, Week 1. It's referenced here, Appendix 3, Week 1. So these match the grapevine. So the younger students and the older students, all the grammar A, B, C, and D students will read this reading on the grapevine, front and back. And when they are finished reading that, they, and that's found in the appendix, they will either copy an I will statement from up here, or if they're a Grammar A student, or for Grammar B and D, C and D students, they'll write 3 sentences about the topic. These can be small sentences if they're younger. I'd hope that Grammar D students can write more complex sentences. Just do whatever parenting you would like to do in that way to make sure that they're increasing their writing skills. I'm thinking for Grammar A students, when they're really young, you might have them write, I will learn to stand alone. And you can, if you want to, feel free to do this. We use cursive, but you may do it differently at your house, and use print. But I found that we have a method to teach students how to write cursive, and it can work great. And then the child, if you do it in highlighter, can just go over it with a pencil and slowly, much slower than I am doing, write it, or, they can do it in print also. And so ideally they're doing it in cursive, but they can do it in print. And that's what it looks like to copy. Okay, and then Grammar B, C, and D are going to write their own sentences on notebook paper, regular notebook paper. Typing is something that's optional for Grammar A and B, but we do have, it's optional for Grammar B. We do have an ACE typing program that we will email to you. And then we don't really want it to be optional for the C and D students. We'd love for them to do, 15 minutes or more to be able to get, closer and closer to familiarity with typing. So then the back of that page is reading. This is really important. Grammar A students read 4 books per week. These are those little easy reader books that they read with their parent. So if it says, cat sat, then the student is going at cat, at sat. And of course I just wrote in cursive, but you can get an easy reader book and do that kind of reading. I'd love to see their finger reading, sounding out as they read at, and then blending cat. That is a very quick how-to thing, reading with your child. But that's for Grammar A students. Grammar B and D students, C and D, are going to read at least 1 chapter book in July. And that means they're going into Grammar B. This is going to be grade appropriate. It might not be a chapter book actually for grammar kids who are going into 2nd grade, but they're going to read and try to do diligent reading, right? That's the whole point. Grammar A and B students are going to recite timeline or phonograms. These are phonics cards. They have like an A, and then the video that I did will show them how to sound out the different sounds of A, and they'll say ah, A, and ah, and those are the 3 sounds. That's what this video is going to do for the kids. Definitely want to put that on any device you have and make it available and read it and have the kids speak while it's being played as much as possible. So, and I definitely want to do it at least once a week. Chemistry, just for science in general, what we do in the summer is this awesome thing called nature journaling. Nature journaling just means you observe nature and then you decide what to do with that. And we'd love for your kids to do nature journaling. And then we have something called Latin, but if you're a new student, you don't do anything. You do not do Latin. And I want you to do what I'm doing with my highlighter to do with your highlighter. Cross that out. And then we have something called Health and PE Standards. These are optional. If you are a new student to ACE, you do not need to stress about this. We will give you electronic version this summer if you really want it. It is something that people who've been around ACE for a while might try to do ahead of time in the summer. It's very simple procedure. It's got directions on it. It basically says, I verify that my kid has spoken to me about eating healthfully, about physical exercise, and there's just a lot of details in that. And that is the government saying we want you as a school to make sure kids know these things, and then we are giving that authority to you parents to teach your own children. So that's kind of how the handoff happens. So that is 1 week worth of homework. Just to review: character, math, writing and reading, and That's it. Character, math, writing, and reading are the most essential required parts to this entire thing. The other parts are there and they're valuable, but they're optional. There's also this awesome box here, and we love it when you write in this, but you, more than anything, need to make sure that it just helps you. It's like a system we built in for parents, because when parents can look at this little box and go, oh yes, we did that, then it just kind of helps you have your checkoff box and find out what you have finished and what you have not finished. So that's really helpful. Also at the top, I didn't cover this. Once in July, and then in a couple weeks, I'll show you once in August, ACE will have you go to a math class. And I don't know exactly how ACE will figure that out this summer, but you will get that information in your email. Okay, so I went through this first week in detail. I'm not going to go through the rest in detail, but I will show you really quickly. Week 1 has those things on it. Week 2, character, same exact character trait. Math, same exact expectations. Memory work is there again, but optional. Writing is reading one of the pieces in the appendix that matches, and then writing or 1 to 3 sentences about that, depending on the skill of your parent. Typing is something that is available for younger students, but for C and D, we'd like them to do some time every week. Reading and writing, and nature journal is optional. Cross out that Latin, and of course, optional health and PE standards. Same exact thing, okay? Week 3, same thing. Character, same, nothing's changed. Math, nothing's changed. Memory work, nothing's changed. Writing, the only thing that's changed here is that there's this thing called a book report. Instead of reading one of those cute little stories in the packet, what you are going to do is complete a book report. It is here, and it's in the same packet. It's in the back, and it just has a really basic book report: title, author, publisher, copyright date, illustrator, theme, main character, setting, summary. And for younger students, this is something that, you know, the parents are definitely going to write the answers for, but if your child can or wants to, they're welcome to. And then draw. And other students are going to answer questions 1 through 8 or 1 through 9, and just try to increase their ability with book reports. One of the tricks, and here's like a tidbit from me, to get your child to write is not to tell them go write. But what can be really helpful is to say, how about you tell me about that? And then while they're telling you, you can just like take your phone and type out the answer that they just said. Give them the words they actually say, and then come back and tell them, like, wow, did you know that you wrote all this awesome stuff? And if they told you, sentences that were quite long, then you, like this many sentences, you wouldn't make them write that much, but you could just take a part of it and say, okay, I just want you to copy that part down from the words that you said, because that is a really simple way to get the kid to bring thoughts out of their head so that they can then get on to writing. Because thinking about what you're going to say and also writing it are two different mental processes. So sometimes parents just say, well, it says go write, so just go write. But that's not really something that we find successful, right? So we want to let students do those in 2 steps. And feel free to work with that as much as you want to as a parent. Okay, for week 3, the typing is still the same. The reading is still the same. The chemistry optional nature journal is still the same. Cross out that Latin. Health and PE standards still the same. Now we move on to August. It's exactly the same as the previous month. There's nothing different. I'm going to show you the pages so you can pause the video and highlight, but this is what it is. Character, math, memory work is optional. Writing has some reading and writing involved. Typing, and then we have reading again, optional nature journal, cross out that Latin, health and PE standards. And then we go on to the second week of August, which we call week 5. And we have character, same exact thing, math, same thing, memory work, writing, typing, all the same. Pause video if needed. And then we have reading, chemistry, cross out that Latin, health and PE standards. Then we go on to the 6th week of the month, which is the 6th week of the summer, which is the 3rd week of August. So this only changes is going to be that book report. Characters same, math same, memory works the same. Writing is going to have the book report, which, like I said, is attached here in this packet, just a couple of pages behind. And you have it right here. And I just realized it looks like there's only one book report in my packet. But you are welcome to write your book report on notebook paper, or copy it, or design your own. Just handwrite this on blank paper. Whatever. We gave you one of them, not two. But and then typing same, and pause video if needed. Reading still important. Chemistry is just that optional nature journal. Cross out that Latin. And it says, when are these supposed to be turned in? It says parent orientation 9/1. Well, that date changes every summer, so just check with your email, make sure that's accurate. Reading log is something to keep track for the competition. For the reading, optional, it's very optional, but you can fill this out a lot and show us how much you've read if you're a prolific reader. But if you're not a prolific reader, this is just where you record what books you read this summer. So this will get turned in, and you can even, turn in, and then some people put this on a fridge, like a refrigerator, so they can just kind of keep adding to what their kids read throughout the summer. Sometimes it's just really exciting to see, how much you were able to do. So there's that book report form. Here's the math puzzler. There's a competition. There's directions on there about how to enter in for another reward. Here are typing goals. So for grammar A and B, you don't have a typing goal. For grammar C and D, the typing goal is 15 words per minute. And then there's higher classes, which we're not going to discuss in this video. So for now, I'm going to stop talking to you about these two parts. You had this, let me find, okay, you had these two elements, and I just talked to you about these. I ripped out some stuff. I walked you through the summer home linked assignment video and summer home linked assignment packet. I'm going to put those to the side. Now I'm going to go through what is your math. If you are younger in grammar A or B, you're going to have a book called Saxon Math 2 or 3. I'm going to actually start with the red one. This is what your instructions look like. I'm going to go about halfway through the packet. You have subtopics and directions. In Math 2 and 3, the teacher words or the parent words are given, and it's really great. So you can just look straight down and see exactly what you need to be doing, what to prepare for. And it looks long, but it's super efficient this way. And, they just tell you exactly what to do and what supplies to have ready. So that's what the parents have. After the way the philosophy goes with this learning for the Math 2 and 3 is that the kids relationally do the math, and then after they relationally do the math, they do it out loud, and they say what they're doing. And after those two steps are finished, then they give the kids this packet of actual worksheets. And then it's done in writing. So let me review that again. The philosophy with Math 2 and 3 is first, do it through relational communication with the teacher. Second, to do it out loud, which I didn't tell you where that's at, but that is kind of here. There's these things called math strips, which you don't have very much to do this summer. But you'd say triangle, square, and the kids should be able to out loud work with this information. They do counting out loud in the other packet. They use this 100 number sheet quite a bit to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Physically do it, verbally do it, and then after they get through those steps, then they have the worksheets. But I have to tell you, as a mama, sometimes I'm just like, hey, kid, go do your worksheet. And if your kid is tanking, there's a good, possibility that they're tanking because, science does not say this is a good way to teach, right? We do it relationally, we do it orally, out loud, kinesthetically where there's activities, and then we give them a worksheet. So that's ideally the big ideal for what these four are going to do together. But like I said, start with the red one, and that will tell you what to do. Okay? For the younger students who are in Math 54, one second. They have an easier time of it. They are able to do theirs without the extra little papers, but they still, in this situation, you actually start with a blue, and the blue sheet is the lesson. It has everything in one. So you have a gray box that's like a warm-up. You have that every single lesson, and then you have a new concept every single lesson. And after you're done with your new concept, then there are examples to act out and discuss. And after your examples are done, then you have lesson practice on that concept. And then it switches to mixed practice. And every lesson's the same routine. And that's really good to build that routine into the students. Warm up, learn, do the new learning, and then review. And that is the theme. One secret trick I want to show you is that it has this little number next to each problem. And if it says number 3, that means that this number 21 problem is actually going to be found in lesson 3. And if I need to remember about that, I can go back and flip to lesson 3. Super useful. And we want the students to get all the way through lesson 12 and investigation 1. So that is about 13 lessons for the whole summer, and they will discuss these, and all the learning for these will happen at those summer math classes. So earlier I told you summer math classes are important, and they are important. And so go to the summer math classes, and your teachers will literally support all the learning for that part. And then you will, as a parent, need to support the part where they start at number 1 and they go down to the end of that lesson, to whatever the end is. So the parent part is supposed to be supporting that mixed practice. Well, after the kid gets finished, then you need to grade it. And so what you do is you go to the answer key and you just, look at the answer key and you say, is number 3, this one says number 3 is 85. Is number 3 85? Yes or no? And so I like to put X's for wrong and stars for correct. I've heard so many people go back and forth and say my old teacher used to use the check mark for things that were correct, and then some teachers use check marks for things that were incorrect. So whatever it is, be really clear with your family. Do something clear for incorrect, something clear for correct. And your responsibility as a parent then is just to help them have time and space and quiet space to complete their mixed practice, and then go through and grade it, and then have the kid review. Okay? Beyond that, the other element to math has these drill sheets in it for the students who are in Math 54 or 65 or 76. And these drill sheets are important. They're always timed for 5 minutes. So that's something to work on as you prepare. So you will take all that information and be overwhelmed by it, but since this is a video, you're welcome to just rewatch it later, go through, get used to it. The learning curve is kind of steep, but the reason it's called a curve is because it flattens out. You will learn this basic routine of how to get through the summer homework, and then it won't be majorly changing in the future. It will be able to stay the same. So that's very helpful for my family, and I think that we've seen a lot of people benefit from that routine. Okay, thank you for watching, and we hope you contact us if you have any questions. Thanks.